Why are people saying the fee war is over? Would you agree?
Yeah, so the whole premise is it's kind of old news. Fees are already low, and they're not wrong. Fees, you can get a diversified portfolio of ETFs across asset classes for 4 to 5 basis points all in, which is really good. But the data kind of says it's not over, and we have a few ways to look at this. One of our favorite ways is to look at a chart of what percent of the flows is going to ETFs or passive products charging less than 20 basis points, or 0.2%. And right now, it's the highest ever for 2019 year to date. It's at 98%. And this is a trend that's continuing over the long term and is going through all types of markets, volatile, up markets, down markets, flat markets, and it's not stopping. This is the rising sea level of the asset management industry. It's a little scary.
You got any specific examples? What should we be looking at?
Yeah, so I mean, one specific example, you can look at Vanguard versus iShares in the S&P 500 or aggregate bond ETF space. So if you look at these four products, they compete against each other. And last year they had the same fee, right? And what happened was iShares dominated Vanguard in flows. Earlier this year, Vanguard cut the fee on each of them by 1 basis point, from 5 to 4 and 4 to 3. And you would think 1 basis point isn't that big of a deal, but so far this year, Vanguard has flipped the switch and is now dominating iShares in these areas.
What about the active side of things? This is the passive side of things right here.
Yeah, so when you look at active, we see a lot of the same stuff. The flows are going out of the higher cost things and going into the lower cost things, or at least not leaving the lower cost active products. But the more important thing is you would expect if a fund is outperforming to see inflows or not to see outflows, but that's not what we're seeing. If you outperform, you're less likely to see outflows. If you outperform, 63% of those funds have seen outflows, which is scary. And it might mean that fees have become almost too important in some of these investors' decision-making process.